Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be taking a look at the latest vintage collection Army Builder 4-pack, the Tusken Raiders from the Book of Boba Fett. If you're new to the channel, enjoyed this video, or simply a fan of Star Wars collecting, be sure to drop a like on this video and remember to subscribe. So as you can see, we have another vintage collection delivery. It seems like everything is just starting to show up, and while that's very exciting for our collection, it's less so for our wallets. But very happy to have 4 of these Army Builder 4-packs for the latest Tusken Warriors. I definitely wanted to build, a nice tribe and just have something similar to what's seen in the Book of Boba Fett. And as you can see, we have these 4 awesome Tusken Raiders here. We also have 4 more in the back that I've already opened up and kind of kit bashed. That was the main thing I was looking for with this set. How could I kit bash them to look even more different? And actually, I've done a pretty decent job back there, so pretty cool. We have the Chieftain in this set, which is probably the biggest oddity, if you will, because having such a specific character like that really, holds us back when it comes to, buying multiples of this set. I definitely would have been very excited to get this character on a card and maybe just a regular Tusken in this set so that I could buy multiples and just really kit bash and, build a nice tribe. But because he's so specific and he has that sculpted necklace on, it's a little challenging to make him different. But I think I did a pretty good job back there, and I'll show you how I did that. Regardless, very happy to have more Tuskens. These are a huge upgrade to the previous releases that we've seen. They have new leg articulation, which is phenomenal. Very happy to see that. So with that being said, let's take a closer look at the packaging, these figures, and put them in a diorama setting. Here you can see we have our standard vintage collection packaging when it comes to these Army Builder 4-packs. We have a nice black and white line illustration of the characters inside the box with a pop of color to really set off this packaging. We have the Star Wars logo and a simplified name pill color telling us what this set is. On the side, we have the vintage collection logo. The other sides have a bunch of information none of us really care to really look at. And then on the back, you have another simplified line drawing, only of the 4 figures that are included in this set. So pretty cool. We're very familiar with this, and it's a nice addition to our Army Builder 4-packs. And many of us are very well aware of this, but if you're new to collecting, this is how the contents look inside. You got each of the 4 figures wrapped individually in tissue paper, and usually they will have an accessory with them also wrapped in tissue paper. Taking a look at the figures that come in this Army Builder 4-pack, you have 4 different Tusken Raiders that will allow you to build a tribe similar to the one seen in the Book of Boba Fett. And taking a look at the Tusken Raider on the left, he is a bit more similar to the ones you would see in A New Hope. He's got more of the tan coloring all throughout, and the only thing that sets him apart really is these black robes that are more pronounced in the Book of Boba Fett. He actually has a black, ammo belt as well, so that's cool that they were able to, add a little bit more variety to this guy. But I'm very excited about him because I'm going to put one of my standard Tusken robes on him so that I have a bit more of an articulated Tusken warrior for my A New Hope tribe. Hopefully Hasbro will go out of their way to re-release these, as a New Hope set, because that would be really cool to upgrade some of those. But here you can see we have legs from Obi-Wan from the Kenobi series. Very cool that Hasbro was able to upgrade the legs on the Tusken Raiders and just, use some tooling that they had that would work. So this figure has now rocker ankles and just ball jointed knees and the new style hips that'll just, allow him to do a lot more when it comes to posing. So that is something that is very cool to see, and as a photographer, I'm very happy to see that. But yeah, all in all, a pretty good looking Tusken Raider. And of course, we have to take a look at the Chieftain. Very cool to finally get this one into our collections. Once again, this would have been a fantastic figure to get on a card, but we did get him, so I can't be too upset about it. But here you can see he comes with his own gaffy stick, which has some nice gold coloring on it, so that looks really cool. He has this sculpted necklace, which personally I think it should have been removable. It really would have helped kit bash this figure to make him look like, another Tusken. Of course, he has a different head, which sets him apart, but again, I could have added some paint to that, and I probably still will, but once again, it just would have been nice to be able to set him apart. But the cool thing is, actually, he has a different head than the other ones, but it's also on a ball joint, as opposed to the other ones, because this torso is actually brand new. So they sculpted it, it's brand new, and because of that, it actually has a little bit more of an ab crunch to it, which is kind of cool. So if, the Chieftain really wants to do some some battle scenes, you'll be able to like give him a little bit more posing in terms of like, his crunches. So that's cool to see. But other than that, we have the same articulation that we're familiar with our Tusken Raiders, where they have, ball jointed elbows and shoulders, and no bend at the wrist. Unfortunately, there's no hinge, it's just a swivel, and I think that's something that could have been improved upon. And I will take a moment to show you how I've already upgraded one of these figures, but definitely something that could have been cool. Here you can see that his pant color is different, and yeah, once again, good to see those legs. I'm glad they're putting them to use. And also, the robe looks pretty fantastic. It's got a nice, subtle print on it. Doesn't look too heavy of, like a paint. And that's just awesome, that the way they were able to do this. So, very cool. Glad that we're able to get the Chieftain into our collection. And while, it's nice to get him, I still do think, like I said, could have been done a little differently to help kit bash him. But still, very cool to see him. And then we have another one of these standard Tuskens that has a lot more black coloring and robes to him. Looks very cool. I'm very into this head sculpt here. Just like that black paint deco on there just really stands out and makes him look much different than many Tuskens that we've seen in the past. So pretty cool. Here you can see the cycler rifle. It's the same one that comes with Nomad Boba, and it's got some nice paint deco on it. Not quite as much as Boba's, but still a nice accessory to get. And yeah, here you can see his soft goods are of course different than all the other figures. Very cool that each one of these has their own unique soft goods that you can you can kit bash on the next batch of them if you want to make them look a little different. And it's just a very nice attention to detail thing that Hasbro did here. I think they did a phenomenal job with the soft goods. They're made of a pretty cool material. It's not too heavy, not too thin, and yeah, I just think it drapes well and it's very convincing in my opinion. But all in all, this is probably my favorite guy of the bunch. Something about him just like really stands out. So yeah, another great addition to this 4-pack. And taking a look at the last Tusken that comes in this set, he's a bit of a kit bash of everything we got going on here. So he's pretty much, all black torso and skirt. His pant color is black. Most of his arm is black except for his hands. And then he's got the nice tan soft goods on there. So looks really cool in my opinion as well. Him and the other guy are definitely, the standouts of this group. And here you can see him with the gaffy stick. Once again, it's the one that comes with Nomad Boba, except it's ever so slightly different. Nomad Boba's is like kind of a bronze gold color, like the metallics, and this is much more silver, so very, Tusken Raider. I feel like, the gaffy sticks are pretty, metal looking. They're not bronze, so very happy to actually see that. Here you can see I've got a cycler rifle on his back. It looks pretty good. And all in all, yeah, this is a fantastic addition to the vintage collection. Here you can see my second set of Tusken Raiders, and I have kit bashed these to give a little bit more variety to my Tusken tribe. What's really cool is I was able to actually take the robes from the Tusken Chieftain and turn them inside out, and I gotta say, that worked fantastically. I don't see any issues with, the paint showing through or that, marking, and already this figure looks phenomenal. So in addition to the soft goods, I've also done a little bit of a head swap here. This Tusken Raider now has the head from the one on the far left, and that adds a little bit more variety to them as well. You can also take a look at my Chieftain, who I've done a little bit of a soft goods swap with. He now has the black robes on that give him a little bit more of a different appearance, and I also gave him an accessory to help hide his necklace. That is a bandolier from Kithaba. I have a couple of extra ones of those. It's a great accessory, and already he looks a little bit more different. Of course, his head is still, very chieftain-like, and maybe I will paint that. Maybe I'll take it off and put it on a different figure to maybe make a chieftain for my A New Hope tribe. Who knows? Unfortunately, I can't really just take that head and put it on this figure because it has a ball joint that is different because, that figure is a different torso. So it still would work. I would have to maybe adjust it a little bit, but regardless, that looks fantastic. I could even go as far as, dyeing his bottom robes to make them a different color, and that would definitely add a lot more variety. So pretty cool stuff. And then the other thing that I did was I like to have figures who can do realistic poses. So a sniper position is something that I always try to see if my figures can do that. And unfortunately, the hands of the Tusken Raider are pretty good, but they were more designed for the older cycler rifle that came with the A New Hope version. And here you can see this is about as good as I could get him to do, which is still not terrible, but I will say that this figure could use hinges on the hands to do a much more accurate sniper position with ease. So here we have hands from Grief Karga. I simply took those off and kind of stuck them in. They aren't a perfect fit and they're a little snug, but they still work. But as you can see, that hinge allows him with a trigger finger to really get a bit more of a convincing sniper pose. So that's something, I wish Hasbro would have done, giving these figures maybe some new hands. I'm probably not going to use the Grief Karga hands. I did plan on ordering hands from Marauders Gunrunners. I get a lot of accessories and bandoliers and stuff from my customs from them, and if you're familiar with the channel, you've definitely seen those customs. So they also sell hands that are fantastic and have hinges on them. So I'm planning to get some of those and upgrade some of these figures to just give them a little bit more articulation. But very cool and definitely something that I want to upgrade all these figures with. And don't get me wrong, this figure doesn't look that bad. It's a decent, shooting position, but I just got to say that, this hand could be a lot better. And that's something that I'm always looking for. Let's see the best figures that we possibly can get in the vintage collection, pose the best, photograph the best, and just really take our displays to the next level. But regardless, not too bad, but if you're looking to upgrade these, Marauders will definitely be a decent upgrade. And usually pegs are pretty standard, so it should fit, but if anything, it might need a little bit of sanding down, but I will definitely let you guys know how that turns out. Once again, Hasbro delivers another impressive Army Builder 4-pack in the vintage collection, but this time takes it to another level with some much needed kit bashing that has moved the Tusken Raider to a much more definitive level, by upgrading the lower portion of this figure with the legs from Obi-Wan Kenobi, Wandering Jedi. The doors have been open as to what this 4-pack can offer our collections. New style barbell hips, swivels at the thighs, and rocker ankles will finally allow the vintage collection Tusken Raider to achieve a number of fluid action poses. Whether you're into action figure photography or simply creating dynamic scenes for your shelf displays, this figure's got you covered. I will say the addition of new hands with hinges at the wrist would have been a very welcome addition and allowed for the sniper position shown here with my custom alteration. While the inclusion of the Tusken Chieftain is certainly a welcome addition to the collection, I still think it would have been phenomenal if Hasbro would have included an additional head and or accessories to transform this distinct character into a standard tribe member. Regardless, I'm very happy to see this character quickly added to our collections. Despite what limitations the Chieftain inflicts on the number of sets collectors purchase as they build their tribe, I am happy to see that his robes can be turned inside out for additional kit bashing with the other figures in the set, adding even more variety to our dioramas and shelf displays. But with that being said, let's gather the rest of the tribe and set up camp in a Dune Sea setting.